I've just had a Barney. By the way, Barney is an argument, depending on what part of the world you live in, with the missus. Her name is Kate. Mrs. is the wife, about Bitcoin. I struggle so hard to articulate to her its significance to our family's prosperity. I love her, but she is bone idle, TikToking, Daily Mail, reading numpty. I don't know what a numpty is. I didn't Google that one, but it might have something to do with that newspaper. And we have a disabled son, and I've spent hours researching crypto macro, and I try to tell her I'm doing this for the benefit of our son and us. She doesn't get it. She thinks I'm gambling our future. Kindly explain to her why we Bitcoin. Well, 5 years ago, it was so much harder to explain. But with the recent events, especially since early 2020, it's become a lot easier. So let's walk through a little journey here of simple concepts. First of all, this is the playbook of how to explain Bitcoin to your wife or a loved one. And we've done many videos on this. But the key to convincing he or she is to explain why Bitcoin is important and what the problem it's trying to solve. If they don't understand the problem, then any attempt at persuading them to let you invest is going to be futile. That is probably the most important thing. And make sure people understand the why first. Always the why. Okay, back to kind of like first principles. So step one, explain the fundamentals of money and how we got here. And this is a beautiful little chart that talks about the history. Back in the old days, we used to barter, exchange, say, milk for wheat, or I don't know, architectural skills or wood or whatever else. And then it became gold about 5,000 years ago. And then, beyond defining money and going into the history of money, you need to emphasize that money is a technology. And it's a technology that allows us to exchange for goods and a store of value. And the technology can take the form of, again, seashells way, way long ago, gold coins, paper, digital dollars, etc., etc. Ultimately, whatever technology we use as money, it has to be good at exchanging for goods we need and preserving our wealth over long periods of time. Again, that wealth preservation piece, put a big underscore under that. Second step, what is fiat? So fiat, once people have the fundamental understanding of money, next, what fiat is in our modern society. It is the most widely accepted money, and fiat is decreed by the government. And the question is, ask your partner, do you know what your fiat money is backed by? See what they come up with. Sometimes it's good to turn the conversation, kind of like a good attorney sometimes does. And a common misconception that people have is that money is backed by gold. And she or he may have this misconception. Debunk it. Fiat is not backed by anything. They flick a button to create more, and that's it. It's printed out of thin air. Fiat money is issued and regulated by governments and central banks, and we use it as a money to purchase goods and services we need to store our wealth. So that's fiat. Third step, let's look at the problems with fiat. So this will blow her mind, his mind, etc. But remember, fiat money is very, very broken. The money supply increased by 40% in a short window of time in the United States, and pretty much the exact same thing happened in the UK with the Bank of England, and also the ECB in Europe and in Australia and everywhere else around the world. So dive into, inflation, central bank money printing, fractional reserve banking, debt, mismanagement, censorship, and again, explain how printing money dilutes the value of your money. You increase the money supply by 20%, you lose pretty much the same amount in purchasing power. Your apples become 20% more expensive. So your dollar doesn't go as far, your pound doesn't go as far. And this chart will show you the value of the dollar depreciating over time. Pull up the debt clock as well. And unfunded liabilities, $217 trillion. Simply, the only way they can pay these unfunded liabilities is to hit that little red button, the magic button that prints the money all the time. So no matter what happens, and probably the most important thing, and I shared this in a video a week or so ago, the half-life, tell her the half-life of money is 10.47. Okay, that means every 10 years, you'll have less than half of the money purchasing power you had 10 years earlier. That's crazy. Step 3, continued. There are also problems with fiat. Show her these pictures. Tell her about the stories of people in Lebanon having to rob the bank to get their own money to pay for their loved one's cancer treatment because the bank was blocking them from withdrawing their own money. And this is not just in Lebanon. All over. Tell her how banks and fiat money is failing worldwide because of the cracks in the fiat financial system. Show all the recent bank crises. Oh, in the US, we had a bunch. We just had First Republic Bank blow up yesterday, be kind of acquired. Then you go to Lebanon, Sri Lanka, Russia, China, Canada, right here in the US. The problem is not getting better. The problem is accelerating worse because we've gone way beyond escape velocity of ever getting back, getting our debt under control. The debt is growing too fast. Deficits are growing too fast. And the only way to overcome this is money printing. And it's a spiral that's just accelerating. In addition, this is another beauty. And again, it's a kind of a little bit contrived, but what makes Bitcoin different is how over time, the top part, your fiat buys you less. Now, maybe $20 to get you a high grade loaf of bread. And if you go back in time, say to 2012, Bitcoin got you nothing. Today, it can buy you a car, not necessarily a Cybertruck. I know we all want a Cybertruck, but this is kind of a key to understand. So, breaking it down to these 4 little things is probably the best approach. And throw questions back at her. Have you seen the price of apples change or meat or real estate change over the past 10 years? And then you'll see the answers. Now, finally, this is very important. These are the 3 do's and 3 don'ts in order to win your partner over. Number 1, do not use complicated terminology. Use terms like, talk about crypto, blockchain, mining, etc. will only confuse the other party. Keep it simple. Keep it, as a question comes up later, explain to me like I'm 10. And that's what we'll do too. Now, don't even bring up terms unless he or she asks about those terms. And don't argue. Arguing never wins anyone over. Stick to simple facts and data. Present your case. 4 bullets. That's it. And number 3, don't assume anything. Sometimes we think the other person has a background or knowledge of understanding or experience that we have, and I'm guilty of that a lot. But this is not the case. Explain it step by step. Do not leave out any background. And of course, be respectful. Listen to her opinions and be patient. And that is key. And with that, she will come. You will be orange pilling your wife real easy. So great question. And thank you for allowing us to lay it out like that. Let us know in a comment below if you'd add a 5th step. I know I like things in 3s and 5s, but that was 4.